my name's Trystan Petrash, and before we get into it, I just want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to my newest monthly donor, Bit of Wit. Now, amazingly enough, they actually raised their own beef this year and used that to make their very own Loco Moco. That's awesome. Today's recipe actually comes as a request from another one of my monthly donors, Deb Koivu. But this dish actually has a lot of significance to me. Every year for the holidays, my family does a potluck dinner, and the dish that I always brought was Singapore noodles. But aside from that, it also happens to be the very first dish I ever did as a sous chef. What's really great about them is how little effort they take to make, and for around $8, you can make enough to feed 4 people, for a grand total of $2 per person. As per Trystan Petrash policy, I'll simply be showing you how I like mine, starting with some thinly sliced onion. Now, you can, of course, prep the veg however you'd like. You do you. But with noodle dishes in particular, slicing everything so it matches the shape of the noodles will make them easier to eat, especially with chopsticks. In addition to onion, I also really enjoy carrot in mine, both of which are pretty common with Singapore noodles. And just like the onion, we're going to peel, slice, and julienne them. And speaking of julienne, if you're looking to upgrade your knife game, consider a monthly membership to my channel. There you'll get access to my new how-to series, starting with basic knife skills. Now, this next ingredient is a little controversial, in that I hate bell peppers. I'm kidding, of course, I just don't care for them. This dish being the one exception, since their color and sweetness go well here. But seriously, fuck peppers. Most people will cut them in half and scoop out the seeds. But there is of course an easier way. By angling your knife and slicing around the core, not only will you avoid painstakingly removing the seeds, but you'll also remove the bitter pith at the same time. Neat. Like the onion and carrot before it, we're gonna julienne the red pepper as well, but depending on the size, you may want to cut them again in half, so they're equal in size to the rest of the veg. Last but certainly not least is some thinly sliced green onion. But to match everything else, I'm slicing them on a 45-degree angle to give them a longer shape. This is referred to as cutting on a bias. Toss all of your expertly cut vegetables into a large bowl and give them a good mix, then set aside. In the last episode, I had some homemade bacon curing in my fridge. Well, it's been 10 days now and the bacon is good to go. Why is any of this relevant to Singapore noodles, you ask? Because they're usually made with a mix of both pork belly and shrimp, and the best pork belly is bacon. There is a bacon video coming in the near future, so don't worry. I'm slicing them on the thicker side, then cutting them into larger chunks to keep them from getting lost in all that noodly goodness. For the shrimp, I'm not using anything special or expensive, just some basic run-of-the-mill, medium-sized tiger prawns. They generally come deveined, so we don't have to worry about that. But if they do, they can easily be removed with a paring knife by slicing them down the backside and pulling them out. To remove their shells, pull them apart on both sides, then pinching the tails, pull the shrimp out. Easy peasy. You will, however, be left with a bunch of shrimp shells, which you can just throw out, save to make stock, or even better, turn them into shrimp oil like we did all the way back in episode 22. The last thing we need to prep before cooking is the sauce. So in a small bowl, combine soy sauce, oyster sauce, sesame oil, some freshly grated ginger and garlic, and the ingredient that gives Singapore noodles their signature flavor, curry powder. Then give everything a good mix. We don't need any salt and pepper in the sauce since we'll be seasoning the finished noodles at the end. Speaking of noodles, typically you'd find vermicelli rice noodles being used, but I much prefer these fresh chow mein. They hold up a bit better when fried and have more surface area, meaning more saucy goodness. Heat a large pan, preferably cast iron, over medium-high, while at the same time bring a large pot of water to boil over high. Add a few drizzles of cooking oil, like canola, then toss in the bacon. Because it's homemade, there will be hardly any liquid in the pan as it renders, so the oil just helps to get it going. Continue cooking over medium-high heat until the bacon just starts to brown and crisp, then toss in the shrimp and cook for another minute, or just until the shrimp are pink and curled. Then remove them and set aside so as not to overcook. Like most dishes, Singapore noodles are infinitely better with some egg. So in a small bowl, crack a few eggs, then whisk until pale and light. Not that you can tell by these eggs, since they're already anemic looking. Push the bacon to one side and pour in the egg. Season with a small amount of kosher salt and freshly cracked black pepper. Just as the egg starts to set, scrape it up into large chunks and mix into the bacon. Then add the veg and continue cooking over medium-high heat until they're just tender but still have some bite. While the veg is doing its thing, add the noodles to the boiling water. It may look like I'm using way too much for the size of the pot, but these noodles don't need to be boiled per se, just heated through, and will only take about 3 minutes. Use a few spoonfuls of the noodle water to thin out the sauce and make it easier to mix. The starches will also help to bind the sauce to everything. Because it has raw garlic and ginger in it, we need to cook the sauce out for a minute or so first. Turn off the heat before adding the strained noodles and cooked shrimp. Then it's just a matter of mixing everything together. Cooking chopsticks or tongs will make this a lot easier. Finally, season with some kosher salt and freshly cracked black pepper. I also swear I'm checking for seasoning and not just inhaling a bunch of noodles, because I'm starving. But I am starving. Then bust out your fanciest bowl, assuming you can find it. Pile in an obscene amount of noodles. Totally optional, but I also like mine with a good amount of sriracha hot sauce. Top with some thinly sliced green onion and some toasted sesame seeds. And that's it. Singapore noodles. I'm actually kinda glad Deb requested this. Because of the pandemic, I haven't been able to go home for the holidays the last few years, so it's been a while since I've had them, but they're every bit as wonderful and savory as I remember. And for $2 a plate, you just can't go wrong. If you like my channel and are interested in supporting it while getting some cool perks, like access to my private Discord server, exclusive bonus content like the aforementioned how-to series, and shoutouts in episodes, you can check out my Ko-fi page. I'll have a link for that as well as the equipment I used in this episode and also the equipment and services I used to make this episode. And hey, if you've made it this far, hitting those like and subscribe buttons as well as sharing are the easiest ways to help me make new content each and every Wednesday. Thanks for watching, and stay awesome. Yeah, I got nothing. Now amazingly enough, they actually raised their own beef this year and are actually making... I can't